Episode 12 of the Hey Bro Show. Super excited. Sorry about the up angle. I'm sitting in the back of the RV on the bed instead of at the counter. I had to get 2 bars so we can make sure we could get this show on the road today. So I want to first intro Mr. David Atkins. He's one of my best friends, and give a shout out to David Atkins. He's has some stomach issues, was in the doctor yesterday, and he's here today, and I'm sure he's brought the energy and ready to present to you guys. Even though he has every excuse in the world not to show up today, he's here. One of my best friends, one of my brothers. He is a father of 3 daughters. He's the lieutenant of the New York State Police. He is a 2-time elite coach, a mid 6-figure earner with Team Beachbody, and building an incredible team, not just here in the U.S. and Canada, but also in the U.K. as well. He's one of the hardest working, most disciplined men that I've ever known, and he keeps me accountable. And by saying that, I'm going to just share this with you guys, just so we can be vulnerable with you guys. He was talking this past week. He says, hey, we need to get on the phone and talk to each other about our goals. We oftentimes give too much to other people and don't focus enough on ourselves and our goals at times. So he's that kind of guy that's holding me accountable to that, because I like to just give, and at times not take care of myself as well. So I also want to give a shout out to Gabby this morning. It's our 11-year anniversary for allowing me to be here on the Hey Bro Show this morning. So yes, that is David. He's an incredible man, and I'm going to pass over to him for a sec.
Hey, Scotty, thank you so much, and happy anniversary. When we see you guys in 2 weeks, Scotty's coming to New York. We'll definitely have to give you guys a hug and a happy 11-year anniversary. I'm going to send Gabby a message. I'm going to write a mental note after this. I'm writing right now because a message because we love you guys. But thank you, Scotty, for that introduction. And guys, just to talk about Scotty, I think it's when we talk about mentors, Scotty may not know, but Scotty, was one of my mentors when I first got started, because he was at a certain level in the business, and it's going to go into what I'm going to talk about in a little bit, but really early on, about how do you find your mentors, and Scotty was one of mine, and especially because, you attract who you are, and Scotty is somebody that has the level of success in the business. As you guys know, he's a 14-star diamond, he's a Million Club member, he's a Success Club All-Star legend, he's a 5-time elite coach, but most importantly, with those accolades that Scotty has, which is amazing because it's less than 0.5% of the company, is the fact that he also is a father of 5. And as you heard today, he's also an amazing husband of 11 years to Gabby, who's also another amazing person. And you should be following Gabby as well, because you truly will realize that it's the couple and how they build it. And Scotty is so vested into his kids. And I know because he's out in the middle of nowhere right now texting me saying, I only have 1 bar. We have to get through to this. And if it doesn't work, you take the show and we'll figure it out. So we're here for you guys. But he's committed with everything he's going on with his family to be here, to come live, so we can come on with you guys 15 minutes to 30 minutes, whatever it is, because we truly want success for you. But at the same time, I know Scotty's priority is his family. And it's the same for me as my priority is for my family. And as you guys heard me at Summit, I truly believe, and I challenge all of you, to be the best version of yourselves, because your family deserves to get the best version of yourself. And I really meant that with passion and heart when I said that at Coach Summit. So without further ado, I want to kick it back to Scotty to kick off this call. Excited to be on, grateful to be on, and back to you, brother.
Awesome. Mentors outside of Beachbody. I'm going to hit on these. I have 5 of them that I'm going to share with you guys today. And I'll try to hit through them quick because sometimes I tend to ramble, but we're going to go through them pretty quick today. And one of them is going to be inside of Beachbody, similar to what David said, how he looked to me as someone that was further ahead of him in the business when he started. But the first and foremost is a mentor I found before becoming a Beachbody coach. Prior to Beachbody, I was trying to start a traditional business, doing something I loved. I won't go into details, but I made custom-made home signs, like to go above garages. It'd have like your last name and like a outdoor scene or a bear or a deer or elk or whatever. I started a like page. I drew them up on AutoCAD, spent lots of time custom designing signs. And I went to a mentor. He was the leader of my church, the bishop of my church. And I went to him because I knew that he owned like 17 gas stations and a hotel. So if I was going to start some small business, he would be someone that could give me advice. So I remember sitting down with him after church one day, and we talked about our spiritual stuff, and then outside that said, okay, I have a question about my personal life, about a business I want to start. And he talked to me about everything, about location, about your product, everything important about starting a business, the process. And we came up with some other ideas, and then, you know, I started some of them, and none of them really took off. But I remember going back to him later, right after I became a Beachbody coach, a few months after, actually. And I was talking to him about, hey, what books? I just asking him, what books have you read? What books have helped you become the leader that you are? And it comes to turn out, I'm going to tell you guys this. He not only owned like 17 gas stations and a hotel, he owned other small businesses as well. But he's also the CEO of another large network marketing business that's global. And I had no idea about that. So the same type of business that we're in, just with different products. And he's like, you know what? And this kind of took me off, and I'm just going to share it with you because it's something that he shared with me as a mentor. He said, you know, I don't really read that many books other than the Bible. He's like, because the foundation, the principles and the foundations and the values that will make you a great leader and a great business owner come from following the principles and foundations that are taught in the Bible. And I was like, okay, so I took that. And then I did continue to read other books that had to do with that aspect, with my spirituality. And you'll see me a lot of times. I tell stories on my YouTube channel, on my Facebook Live, of Elisha the prophet. Like I talk about Elisha from the Bible all the time. I talk about miracles in the Bible and how you know, some of those miracles came about with somebody that didn't believe they had anything about them that could be special, but because of miracles brought through them, they were able to accomplish big and huge things. So like even those small things, learning those through his advice to me has helped me believe that even though I'm just a small, shy, somewhat quiet guy, that I could accomplish big things worldwide. Okay, so that was one of the first things. The second mentor that I want to talk about was somebody that was hired by Beachbody to help mentor coaches when I began in 2011. His name was Craig Holliday. And he had a series called the 90 Days of Excellence series. And I listened to that series over 60 times in my first year. And I would go do home parties. I would go visit my friends, have a healthy barbecue, share Shakeology, share my results, invite people to be a part of what I was doing, this vision. And I would listen to his series, one specifically called Passion, the Defining Difference. I would listen to that series on my drive over there. And gosh dang it, when I arrived at that party, I was fired up with passion about this business. And it came from not just luck, it came from listening to that and having it ingrained inside of me. So that was called the 90 Days of Excellence series. I remember, and this is so powerful to look at right now as we're ready to launch into the UK, I remember meeting Craig. He came to our Super Saturday 2 times, and I had the privilege of speaking with him. Well, he came to ours once, and then he came to like 5 hours away, and I drove to that one with Brigitte Linford. We went there, we listened to him speak, and one thing that was very powerful that I remember him saying, he's like, Scotty, he's like, you gotta build local, but think global. Build local, think global. And it goes back to what David and I talked a few weeks back about multiplying your actions. Do things that multiply. And, you know, he said, you're going to build a team locally with your friends, family, but you got to think bigger picture. There's people all over the world that are going to need your help eventually. And it's funny how one small mentor can say something small to you. Sitting in the lobby, he said, Scotty, I see it in you. Like, because I had built close to a 6-figure income. I was just walking away from my job when he told me this. He's like, Scotty, I see one day, I see you and Gabby hopping off a plane in China, and there's going to be a team waiting for you with a sign, Scotty and Gabby, and they're going to be with their accents, Scotty, it's Scotty and Gabby here to speak at our event. And, you know, it seemed kind of funny to me 5 years ago, but, you know, because I've had that mindset of thinking, like building locally with what I have now, but thinking globally, that we are going to the UK in October, and we have a team that's planning a lunch for us and going to the event together and all of that stuff. But it came from that one small breath of belief from somebody that had done what I wanted to do, because he had built a 7-figure business with his network marketing business. And he said he saw in me him in the past, that I could do what he had done. And so that was a mentor outside of Beachbody. He was not a Beachbody coach, not a male Beachbody coach. that you're trying to look up to and for hopes of if it will work for me or not, an outside mentor. So that was a huge mentor for me. The third one was I did look to the two top coaches prior to me starting, and the year I started were male Beachbody coaches. So if you look at my blog, scottyhobbs.com, it's emulated after Josh Spencer's blog. I don't know what it looks like now, but it's emulated after what his looked like. So I asked him for advice on how to start that. So my YouTube stuff is emulated after what Wayne Wyatt was doing, because Wayne was the top coach then and Josh was the top coach. And so I looked at them. You know, I didn't have direct conversation with them, but I looked at what they were doing and put my spice on it and started in that aspect. So that's number 3. Another one, there's so many, right? But I'm just going to throw them all out there so you can realize that you don't have to just look to the male Beachbody coaches in this company to know that it's possible for you. The next one is books. I mentioned that I listened to the 90 Days of Excellence series from Craig Holliday, from my outside mentor, over 60 times in my first year. I also listened to 3 books. The Compound Effect, Think and Grow Rich, which was by Dale Carnegie, and Millionaire Next Door, which was by Thomas Stanley. I listened to those books. I had them all downloaded. It's all I could fit on my little Nokia MP3 player phone because I didn't have a smartphone. And I had a 12-hour workday where I could listen to music. So I sacrificed listening to music, and I listened to those books over 60 times each in my first year. So it was like Dale Carnegie and Thomas Stanley and Craig Holliday, and also the Compound Effect with Darren Hardy. It's like they were speaking to me 12 hours a day into my mind what was possible for me if I stuck to the steps in the past. I didn't look at what Lindsay Matway was doing or Melanie Mitro or any of those guys. I was looking at what these 4 men that had built far larger businesses than Melanie Mitro and Lindsay Matway had done, and applying the principles that they were teaching, taking them into my life, seeing how I could apply them to helping others with health and fitness, and talking. That's how I spoke to my coaches. That's how I spoke on team calls. That's how I spoke on my YouTube videos. So the books. I also had set a goal to read 52 books a year, and started that in 2013. And 14, I read 52 books in both of those years, and those all became a part of who I was. And I'll tell you what, I can't think of one of those 104 books that was written by a female. So get that, guys. That's 100 male mentors that I was able to listen to in just those 2 years alone as well. And I'll go through these because it's David's turn. The next one was Carl Deichler. Guys, he is the best male Beachbody coach that you can follow. Like, he's up there doing the selfies, doing the shake, doing the workout poses, writing posts, engaging on his social media. So if you're afraid of how to post on social media as a male Beachbody coach, follow Carl Deichler and emulate what he's doing. That's what I do as well. I see what he's doing. I'm like, man, he's doing what we do. Mel, he's CEO of Beachbody. He's the coach leader of the whole organization, and he's doing it with social media, and so we can emulate that as well. And then the next is, during every single workout, I listen to YouTube motivational videos. Inky Johnson, Les Brown, Joel Osteen, like all different types that are speaking belief into me, and those are my outside mentors. Those are who I listen to for advice on how to live my life and live my business. So hope that helps you guys, and I hope I hit that fast enough. And David, I'm going to pass it back over to you, brother.
Thanks, Scotty. And I absolutely loved it. And I loved everything you said in those books. I read every one of them. So guys, if you haven't read those 3 books, especially those 3 early on, you need to pick them up, get them on Audible, and buy them and get them now. But a little bit that I'm going to hit on is a couple of little quick stories about it. When Scotty said, let's talk about our mentors outside of Beachbody, and I started thinking about it, I also started realizing there was some impactful, significant events that occurred with some of our mentors that I'm going to share with you guys. But I want to go back a couple of years when I was, I don't know, maybe a coach, emerald coach, diamond coach. And I always thought, who are my mentors? I want to be able to, let's just use an example. I want to be able to talk one-on-one to Scotty Hobbs or Melanie Mitro or Wayne Wyatt. And I realized I just was in the crowd and wasn't able to have the ability to get to these people one-on-one. And I realized at that point that if I wanted to get to that point, I had to earn my right to get there, and I had to put in the work. But I wasn't able to quite understand what it was, but it was right in front of me. And the answer that was in front of me, and I want to share with you, and it kind of hit me like a ton of bricks falling on me, was the books that I read. Because am a very, very big John Maxwell fan. I love John Maxwell, and I've read all of his books. In the first book, one of the greatest books I always tell everybody to read, and we even do in our Coach Basics, is the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth, which I absolutely love, and I always still go through it myself. But I don't remember which book it was, but I remember John Maxwell saying, when you're first starting out in your journey, and you're first starting trying to get to the level where you want to be, and you really don't have access to those people, you have to understand that your mentors are probably the authors of the books that you read. And I was like, boom, like it hit me straight dead in the chest that my mentors don't even know that I'm their mentors. And in fact, it has to be the books that I read. So I became obsessed from one John Maxwell book to the next, to the next, to the next. And John Maxwell didn't know it at the time, but he became my mentor outside of Beachbody early on. And I think you guys have to realize that personal development is so powerful because the books that you read, the authors that you read are going to be your mentors right now with where you're at. And as you start succeeding and going to the levels, I started realizing that you earn the right to go to certain events within Beachbody. And now you're in the circle of influence of higher level producers and top leaders in the company, kind of like Scotty and I met, on a cruise, because, going on a cruise, we met kind of in a line, we were talking, and then we went to elite parties and other events, and we connected and we became good friends. But a couple of years ago, if it didn't start with the books that I read, I wouldn't have been at that cruise. I wouldn't have been at that elite party. So you have to start with what you have in front of you. I always say, guys, work with what you have with where you are, because what you have is plenty. Don't worry about our chapter 12. You're in your chapter 1 or 2. Don't compare your chapter 1 or 2 to our chapter 12. The men's designer for Kenneth Cole for a while. He overdid the whole shoe line for Payless. He's constantly traveling to China and overseas. And every year he has a house. Our vision for Kristen and I is to get a house on the ocean, on the beach, on a private island that's down off of Long Island. And he has a house there. And every July 4th, he invites our family, our whole family, to go there for Independence Day. And we always go for a run after breakfast. Him and I, we go taught me so much during the time that I went running with him. My next point, guys, is events. You need to find your mentors and get to events outside of Beachbody, okay? Because I think of 2 events that I went to in particular that were kind of changing in my life. Thomas is doing a live event in Chicago, and it was literally a couple days away, and I said, I need to go there. Like, he didn't do a lot of live events at the time. She's like, what, Chicago? Like, you want to fly there by yourself? I'm like, I need to go. She's like, but we really don't have the money. I'm like, I need to be there. So I literally bought a plane ticket, and I flew myself to Chicago, and I was staying in a hotel by myself, didn't know anybody. And I remember the morning of the event, it started in the afternoon. I got to the hotel in the morning, and it was only a 15-minute drive to the event. And it was right across from the United Arena, United Center Arena. I'm blanking on the name, where the Chicago Bulls play. I was in a hotel, and it was about an hour and a half early. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to go over to this event early. I got the VIP ticket, and I got my car on the parking garage, and I was only on the 2nd level. And as that event was as I was about to leave, an event across the street at the United Center, if I had the name right, just let out for a concert. And the next thing I know is that I was stuck in the second parking garage, 10 minutes. 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. Now I'm pushing on, I'm going to be late. Everybody got in their cars at the same time. Nobody was moving. And I finally got out of the parking garage, and I literally just got there at the start of the event. I literally was like, I am being tested. I'm being tested for the level of success. I'm being tested realizing that the obstacle in the path is the path, because success isn't going to be handed to me. Not only did I get there, but now I'm being tested because part of me, I just wanted to turn around. And I went to that event, and it was super impactful to me because it changed my perspective. And just seeing Eric Thomas live, the guy that I was following on YouTube for a couple of those, for 2 years, 3 years at the time, hearing him, he shook my core. He brought tears in my eyes. And I remember afterwards, I got to meet Eric, and I told him this, and I told him my story and what he's done for me. And they yanked me aside, and they put me on camera, and I ended up being in the beginning of his TGIM Monday videos as like part of a commercial of what ETs did for me. I don't know if any of you guys see it, but a couple of years ago, my mug is on there popping up, and it changed my life because not only did it motivate me, like, holy cow, I'm on ET's video now, but he changed me internally, where I came home and I said to Kristen, if he ever comes to New York, we have to see him. Like, you need to come and see Eric Thomas. So what happened was, sure enough, a couple weeks later, he's coming to New York in Brooklyn. And I said to Kristen, we need to go to this. You need to hear this. And at the time, Kristen was still working full time, and we had a plan for her to leave. And let me just kind of give you a time frame. This was July. It was in the summer. We wanted her to leave a year later, the following July, 14 months later. And I said, we need to go to this event. Kristen's starving, I'm starving. We grab a piece of pizza, and we're running, and we're asking the people who was at a university, where is this event? They're like, go down this back alleyway in the university, and you'll pop up where the venue is. And I'll never forget, we're running down this alleyway, and we're just getting there in time to start. And out of the door in front of us comes ET. Now, nobody's in this alleyway, but he's coming out of the alleyway, and he literally, he sees Kristen and I, he stops. He stops dead in his tracks, and he looks at me, and he goes, holy cow. He goes, you're was successful that are those that are willing to go all in, those that are willing to say, I don't need that security blanket. So his question was, he said, what is your security blanket? What is your security rope? What are you holding on to that you're not willing to let go? And Kristen knew at that time that her security rope was, in fact, that she was still at her full-time job. And we left that event, and she said to me, I need to leave teaching. And I was like, whoa, like, we have like a year and a half. We're supposed to be waiting for this. You can't leave right now. And she's like, no, I need to leave teaching right now. And lo and behold, guys, I want to let you know that that event was life-changing for us, because Kristen put in her notice about a week later to walk away from her six-figure career as a teacher, a lot earlier than planned. And we figured it out. So my ending to this story, guys, with you guys, is that my mentors outside of Beachbody, John Maxwell, helped me grow through the levels of the business, and ET helped me change my life and change my wife to leave early and for us to figure it out have nothing to do with Beachbody. Every single day, I'm watching their YouTube. I'm watching Gary Vaynerchuk with the level of hustle. These people are not affiliated with it, but they've had the biggest impact on my life. So my question to you is, who are your mentors outside of Beachbody? Are you following them? If they're not, you need to find some. And are you getting to live events? Because you don't know what's going to happen when you get to live events. And both times with me, things happen to me I could have never expected. Being in his video, running into him in the alleyway, him basically saying it was a privilege and how grateful he is to meet Kristen, which opened up my eyes to his character. And last but not least, him saying, what is your security rope? Those have been some of the most biggest impactful moments in my life, in Kristen's life, and our life with the business. So guys, to close it out, because I know we've been on for a while and I've been going for a little bit, is the question now is you need to find your mentors. You need to find them outside of Beachbody. And if you're sitting and waiting to get connected to the top coaches in the network, you got to put the work in and you will get in that circle of influence, just like John Maxwell said, because you won't have access to be able to have a one-on-one with, say, with Melanie Mitro or any of the other top leaders. Get on these calls. Let us be your mentors from afar, right? We get a lot of messages, can you mentor me one-on-one? And it's virtually impossible because then we won't be having our family as number one and our team. But we're here doing these videos. Our YouTube channels are there. But I want you to find mentors outside of Beachbody. For me, it was Gary Vaynerchuk, and it still is Gary and Eric Thomas every single day. And now, I can tell you right now, I'm looking at Brendan Burchard, and I'm looking at going to maybe some of his events, the world's greatest speakers on my map, something I actually want to talk to Scotty about. So that's something else, but I'm already trying to stretch myself. So in the end, guys, as we always say, you need to man up. You need to take the ideas we're giving you and put them into action, and you need to have an amazing, amazing week. So thank you, guys, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.